My dad only found out I was trans when he read my will. Have you ever imagined living your whole life without being called by your name? Hiding who you are, just to avoid losing who you love. This is the story of someone who had to die, just to finally be seen. But it's also about how truth, even when it comes late, can soften even the hardest of hearts. If you've ever felt invisible, silenced, or afraid to be yourself, this video is for you. The funeral and the video. Will. The funeral hall was silent. There were far too many flowers for someone who supposedly had no one. But each wreath carried a name Alex's father didn't recognize, and that already unsettled him. He looked around with a hardened face, eyes trying not to cry, but also trying to understand. His daughter, that person, the one everyone here kept calling she. Her birth name was Alexander, but inside that casket was someone he claimed not to know. The casket was closed. On top, a single framed photo. A smiling woman with light brown hair in a bun, bright eyes, and a soft expression. Alex Morgan, 29 years old, read the nameplate. Below the frame, her father stared at the photo like trying to solve a puzzle. Next to him, two cousins whispered, "Did you know?" "No clue. I heard she had moved to another city years ago. They say she was an artist or something." No one really knew. The truth is, no one in the family ever truly knew who Alex was. And that's exactly why they were there. The room grew even quieter as a woman in a black blazer stood up. "Good afternoon. My name is Sandra. I'm the attorney handling Alex's will. At her request, I'd like to share a final message. Please remain silent and respect her wishes." She plugged a USB drive into the television in the corner. Some people rolled their eyes. Others leaned in with curiosity. Alex's father sat still, but his fingers trembled slightly. The screen turned blue for a moment. And then, there she was. Alex, seated in a blue armchair in front of a window with white curtains. She was smiling. Light makeup, simple earrings, elegant, understated clothes. Her voice was sweet, but steady. "If you're watching this, it means I've already said goodbye to the world. But there's something I never got to say in life. And now, I need it to be heard." The room held its breath. "My name is Alex Morgan. I'm a woman, and for almost half my life, I had to hide that." Her father turned his gaze away. "I'm not here to shock anyone. I'm here to introduce myself. Maybe for the first time." The recording continued. Alex explained gently that she had distanced herself from the family out of fear, that she didn't want to live in constant conflict, that she tried to fit in, but never could, that she chose silence until she realized it was killing her, just slower. "Dad, if you're there, I hope you're listening with your heart. I'm not a disgrace. I'm your daughter." The man closed his eyes tightly. Some people glanced at him discreetly. Others wiped away tears, but no one dared interrupt. The recording played on, and Alex's video wasn't just a revelation, it was a reclaiming. She shared the life she built, the city where people called her by her real name, the love she lived, and the peace she found once she stopped asking for permission to exist. She smiled. The rejection and the escape. The room remained silent, but inside her father's mind, memories began to echo, as if her presence in that video had unlocked doors long sealed shut. Flashback. Alexander was 7 when he said he wanted to be a ballerina. His father laughed. "A ballerina, son? No, that's for girls. Boys play ball." His mother, silent, pressed her lips together. She didn't object. And little Alexander lowered his eyes. He never asked for ballet shoes again. At 12, he tried playing soccer. He was clumsy, fell a lot, got hurt, got laughed at in the locker room. His father pushed him harder. You need to be a man, tough, strong, take it like one. But inside, Alexander just wanted to be himself, or rather herself. The first time she looked in the mirror and liked what she saw, she was hiding, wearing her aunt's linen dress in a dark room. She was 14. She smiled. Her eyes glowed. But the smile turned to panic when she heard footsteps in the hallway. She hid, ripped off the dress, pretended nothing had happened, and it happened again and again, always in secret, always afraid, always believing that being herself meant losing those she loved. At school, she changed her walk, her voice, the way she dressed. She laughed at jokes that cut deep. At home, she locked herself in her room and wrote letters to a version of herself that didn't yet exist outside the page. No one ever called her by the name she felt was hers, but in those letters, she signed Alex. At 18 came the storm. She let it slip, impulsively, that she wanted to change her body. Her father exploded. He shouted, kicked a chair, called her sick, a disgrace, said it'd be better to die than to bring shame to the family. Her mother cried, begged for calm, but didn't defend her. That night, Alex packed a bag. No destination. She just knew she couldn't exist anymore in a place where she didn't fit. She caught a random bus, landed in a medium-sized city, slept in a hostel with money she'd saved by secretly selling her phone. And there, for the first time, she breathed. No one watching, no one whispering she was wrong, no one demanding she apologize for existing. She started from zero, got a job as a bookstore clerk, rented a tiny room, befriended an older trans woman named Danny, who became her chosen mother. And slowly, she learned life wasn't just about survival. It was space. It was a right. It was a name. It was saying "I am" out loud. But even from afar, she still thought of her parents. Would they ever accept her? Would they ever see beyond their fear? She sent a Christmas card, signed only Alex M. She never got a reply. She never knew if her father tore it up, or if her mother even had the courage to read it. But in that moment, she understood. If I want to live, I'll have to live without their applause. And that's exactly what she did. The life she built. Alex smiled at the mirror. Not the fake smile from childhood photos. A real one. Alive. She wore a soft blue dress. Light, flowing. Applied lipstick carefully. Put on a simple but meaningful necklace. A gift from Danny, her heart mother. Today was special. She was doing her first professional photo shoot. Not as a model, but as herself. The photos showed a confident woman. Steady gaze. Gentle expression. A woman who, for a long time, had only existed as an idea. Trapped in a body that never reflected her truth. And now, she was whole. Alex lived in a small, cozy apartment. Books everywhere, scented candles, colorful art on the walls, and a little plant on the balcony she named Hope. She worked as a freelance illustrator, drew children's books and LGBTQIA+ stories with characters like her, because she knew that if she'd had books like that as a kid, maybe it would have hurt a little less. And yes, she fell in love with Luca, a smiling black man she met at a book club. They started talking about Virginia Woolf, then memories, then scars. Luca knew from the beginning who she was, and never had to ask if she was real. Because to him, Alex was always real. But life moves on its own time, and not all times are long. At a routine checkup, she heard the words, no one wants to hear. A rare, aggressive, silent cancer, found too late. She was in shock. She thought of hiding, thought of disappearing, but then she thought differently. Maybe this is the time to be clear, to say fully who I was. That's when the idea for the video was born, not out of revenge, not out of confrontation, but out of liberation. She didn't want her final memory to be a wrong name on a piece of paper. She didn't want a casket surrounded by strangers pretending they knew her. She wanted to tell her story, her truth, her love, her life, and she decided, my will won't just be about money, it'll be about who I was. On her good days, she filmed. She talked about her childhood, her escape, her friendships, her love for Luca. She showed photos, home videos, drawings. She spoke gently, even about her father, even though he had never given her that same gentleness. If you're watching this, Dad, I don't need you to accept me. I just want you to see me. In her final days, she asked Danny to organize everything, the video, the letters, her final wishes, and she was clear. I want a simple funeral, but I want my truth to be there, even if it's the first and only time. And that's how it happened. While illness silenced her body, Alex raised her voice, and for the first time, the public revelation and the father's reaction. She smiles gently. Maybe you'll never understand everything. But even so, I forgive you. Because I had to leave. To find myself. The screen fades into a montage of happy moments. Alex dancing in the park with friends, blowing out birthday candles, holding hands with Luca on a hiking trail, laughing at something silly, and finally, lying on the couch with Danny, her head resting on Danny's lap while they watch a movie. She ends with a soft but firm phrase, I was happy, and I hope now you can finally see me. The screen fades to black. The room remains silent. Alex's father is still seated, but now his gaze is distant, his hands clenched and pale, his eyes filled with tears. Some people discreetly wipe their own tears. Others pretend to check their phones. No one gets up just yet. The lawyer gently closes the laptop. Those were the words left by Alex Morgan, who wished to be remembered this way. In the father's mind, a storm of memories. The son he raised, the daughter he never knew, the angry words he once shouted, the silence that filled the house for years. He tries to breathe deeply, but his chest is heavy. He rises slowly, walks to the casket, looks at the photo, the smiling woman he barely recognized. And for the first time, he whispers, "Forgive me." Outside, a light drizzle begins. Some guests start to leave. A couple of Alex's friends thank the lawyer for her courage. Danny stays seated, watching in silence. At the chapel door, the father crosses paths with Luca. They stare at each other for a few seconds. The father extends his hand, hesitant. Luca takes it, firmly, painfully, with dignity. "She loved you deeply," Luca says. The father doesn't reply. He just nods. As if, at last, he believes it. Outside, the town begins to talk. "Did you see the video? So she was trans? I thought it was disrespectful. But, I don't know, it moved me. She looked so happy." Some are unsettled, others feign indifference. But most feel something, even if they won't admit it. What was once invisible now has a name. And where there was silence, now there are echoes. In the following days, the lawyer delivers the letters Alex left behind. The mother receives a short one, With a plea for peace, the father receives a 4-page letter. Handwritten, messy, raw, but full of soul. At the end, one final line. If I had been your son, maybe you would have loved me. But I am your daughter, and still, I loved you to the very end. He reads it, twice, 3 times, and cries. For the first time in years. But now it's not just grief. It's regret. Online, the video leaked. Someone at the service filmed part of the message. Thousands shared it. This is the most beautiful farewell I've ever seen. I cried my eyes out. Thank you, Alex, wherever you are. This story gave me the strength to tell my mom. Alex, who spent her life trying to be heard, was now being listened to by people who never met her, but who recognized her. The legacy and the healing Alex's father's home, once so cold and impenetrable, now had new books on the shelves. Biographies of trans people. Stories from parents who lost LGBTQIA+ children. Printed letters from strangers who had seen the video. Little by little, he read. Slowly, with shame. But he read. Every day, more letters arrived. Messages, flowers. From Alex's old classmates, from clients she illustrated for. From teachers now saying, "She taught me more than I ever taught her." Even the local church, once so rigid, was mentioned in a note that came by mail. I saw the video. It made me think. Who are we, to deny someone the right to be called by their real name? The father began visiting the places Alex once loved. He went to the bookstore where she worked, spoke with the manager, showed her Alex's photo on his phone. The woman smiled. "You're Alex's dad? She talked about you." Not often, but she did. He held back tears. She was good at that, hiding pain. At the coffee shop, where Alex used to sketch, there was an art wall. Among the paintings, a watercolor. 2 androgynous figures dancing in the rain, signature in the corner. AM. The father recognized her style, asked to buy it. The owner refused. "That's our tribute to her. But I'll make you a copy." Little by little, the man who once said he didn't have a queer son was now sitting with therapists, asking questions, trying to understand. He began speaking at schools, sharing Alex's story. "I waited too long to listen to my daughter, but maybe there's still time to listen to yours." Some applauded, others rolled their eyes. But he kept going, not to be seen as a hero, but because now he understood. The real mistake was silence. Danny and Luca, along with him, created a support fund for trans youth in crisis. The name of the project, Alex's Voice. It offers scholarships, therapy, and emergency aid. And whenever someone asks who Alex was, Danny replies, "She was a woman who refused to die invisible." Alex's video, now subtitled in several languages, went viral. It's used in discussion groups, in support circles, in universities. But the father never watched it again. Not because he didn't want to, but because those words now live inside him, echoing, reshaping him. In the room that once belonged to Alex, he created a small altar, a candle, her smiling photo, the necklace she wore, and a copy of the letter she wrote him. Every morning, he lights the candle and says her name out loud. "Good morning, daughter." Now, he says it right. Now, he says it with pride. Alex's story reminds us of a hard truth. Loving someone isn't enough if you don't have the courage to truly see them. And sometimes, the price of not seeing is never getting another chance to. If you made it this far, thank you. Truly. Because just by listening to this story, you're already part of the change this world needs. If this video moved you, please subscribe to the channel. Here, every story is an act of resistance, remembrance, and rebuilding. And maybe, it's exactly the story someone close to you needs to hear. Share this video with someone who needs to understand that there is a time to love, and that time is now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, every time someone says, "I exist,"